The air in the boardroom of the Sterling Vane Foundation doesn't just smell like expensive mahogany and Joe Malone candles. It smells like unearned certainty. It's a specific, pressurized oxygen that exists only when people with 8-figure portfolios believe they are the smartest operators in the room. Through the floor-to-ceiling glass, the skyline of Manhattan is blurred by a gray, drizzling haze, making the interior lights, soft, recessed, and golden, feel even more like a fortress. I stood by the sideboard, pouring myself a glass of room-temperature water. I've always found that the quality of a person's character is inversely proportional to how much they over-index on curated aesthetics. Marcus Vane entered the room at 9:02 a.m. He didn't walk. He glided with the practiced ease of a man who has never been told no by someone he actually respected. Behind him was Juliana, the foundation's director of operations, sharp, brittle, and currently wearing a look of profound annoyance. Marcus didn't look at me, not really. He saw the charcoal gray sweater, merino but unbranded, and the lack of a Patek Philippe on my wrist, and his brain instantly filed me under administrative error or outreach project. "Juliana," said Marcus, his voice a rich, theatrical baritone as he took his seat at the head of the table. "I thought we were keeping the committee meeting closed doors this morning. We have the liquidity audit to finalize before the benefactor's representative arrives." Juliana glanced at me, then back at her tablet. "Mr. Elias is here for the fellowship review, Marcus. He was flagged in the system as a priority placement from the community integration program. I assumed you wanted to sign off on his stipend personally." The word stipend hit the air like a lead weight. Marcus finally turned his gaze toward me. It was the look a biologist gives a particularly resilient strain of mold. "Ah, right, the Legacy Grant Initiative," Marcus said, leaning back. He steepled his fingers. "Mr. Elias, is it? Look, Elias, I admire the hustle, truly. People from your background, disadvantaged, navigating the system, usually lack the grit to even make it to the 40th floor. But you're early, and frankly, this room is for the people who sign the checks, not the ones who cash them." I didn't move. I took a slow sip of the water. "The invitation said 9 o'clock, Mr. Vane. I assumed punctuality was a metric of professionalism here." Marcus let out a short, dry laugh. He looked at Juliana as if I had just told a joke in a language he didn't speak. "Punctuality is a virtue for employees," Marcus said, his tone shifting into that condescending mentor register that makes my skin crawl. "For the people who keep this foundation afloat, time is a commodity we dictate. Now, there's a lounge 2 floors down. It has a coffee machine. The pods are free. Go wait there. Juliana will send an intern down with your paperwork and your first check once we've handled the actual business of the day. It's a generous amount, Elias. Don't spend it all on whatever it is people like you spend windfalls on." He turned away then, a physical dismissal so complete it was almost impressive. He began unfolding a spreadsheet, the Q3 allocation report. He didn't realize I had already read it 3 weeks ago. He didn't realize I was the one who had redlined the 3rd paragraph regarding the miscellaneous $5 million consultancy fee he'd paid to his own shell company in the Caymans. "I'll stay," I said quietly. The scratching of Marcus's fountain pen stopped. He didn't look up, but I saw the muscles in his jaw tighten. "Excuse me?" I said. "I said I'll stay," I repeated, walking toward the chair at the far end of the table, the one reserved for the lead auditor. I pulled it out. The screech of the legs on the hardwood was the only sound in the room. Juliana stepped forward, her face flushing. "Mr. Elias, you are overstepping. This is a private fiscal session. If you don't leave immediately, I'll have security escort you out, and I will personally see to it that your grant is rescinded for breach of conduct. Do you have any idea how many people would kill for the handout Marcus is offering you?" I looked at Marcus. He was finally looking at me, but the condescension had been replaced with a cold, predatory anger. He saw a bug that refused to be stepped on. "You think because we gave you a seat at the table for a photo op, you're an equal?" Marcus hissed. "You're a line item, Elias. You're a tax write-off. You are the before picture in our annual brochure. You exist in this building because my signature allows it. Now get out before I make sure you never work in this city again." I checked my phone. 9:07 a.m. The door behind Marcus opened. It was the Foundation's legal counsel, Sarah, looking unusually pale. She was holding a thick manila envelope and a smartphone that was vibrating incessantly. She didn't look at Marcus. She looked straight at me, her eyes wide with a sudden frantic realization. "Marcus," whispered Sarah, her voice trembling, "the wire transfer for the Q4 endowment, it didn't come through from the usual holding account." Marcus waved her off, not breaking eye contact with me. "A banking delay, Sarah. Handle it later. I'm dealing with a trespasser." "It's not a delay," Sarah said, her voice cracking. "The holding account was emptied this morning. All of it. The master fund, the endowment, the operational liquid, it's all been moved to a private equity firm called Alpha Omega. And Marcus, the firm just sent a representative to serve the restructuring papers." I leaned back in the leather chair, crossing my legs. I watched the color drain from Marcus Vane's face, a slow, satisfying transition from arrogant bronze to a sickly, translucent white. "I believe those papers are for me, Sarah," I said, my voice cutting through the tension like a scalpel. "And since I'm already here, Marcus, why don't we skip the lounge? I think it's time we discussed what people like me actually do with their windfalls." That was a strong opening. The tension is perfectly calibrated. Let's maintain that cold, surgical momentum as the floor drops out from under Marcus. The silence that followed was heavy, clinical, and absolute. It was the sound of a vacuum forming where Marcus Vane's ego used to be. He stared at me, his mouth slightly agape, looking for the punchline to a joke that wasn't coming. Sarah, the counsel, didn't move. She stood frozen by the door, the manila envelope shaking in her hand. She was a professional. She knew how to read a balance sheet, and she knew that when $400 million moves in a single morning without a signature from the board, the world has ended. "What is this, Elias?" Marcus finally managed to choke out. He tried to reclaim his baritone, but it came out thin, reedy. "Alpha Omega. That's a vulture fund. They specialize in hostile takeovers of failing nonprofits. We aren't failing." "You aren't failing," I corrected him, standing up and walking slowly toward the head of the table. "You're being liquidated. There's a difference. One is a tragedy, the other is a choice." I reached out and took the envelope from Sarah's hand. She let it go without a word. I tossed it onto the mahogany table, right over his precious Q3 report. "Open it, Marcus. It's light reading." With trembling fingers, he tore the seal. He bypassed the cover letter, signed by a firm he couldn't afford, and went straight to the addendum of ownership. His eyes darted across the page, searching for a loophole, a name he recognized, a way out. The Anonymous Benefactor of the Foundation, the AB Trust. They've provided 92% of our operating capital for the last decade. They triggered a morality and governance clause? Section 4, paragraph 12, I said, leaning over the table, my hands planted firmly on the wood. The clause states that if the board of directors engages in self-dealing, misappropriation of liquidity, and conduct unbecoming of the foundation's mission, the benefactor has the unilateral right to recall all gifted capital and seize the remaining assets to ensure the preservation of the endowment. I leaned in closer until I could smell the expensive espresso on his breath, the scent of a man who thought he was untouchable. That $5 million consultancy fee you sent to the Caymans, that was the trigger. You didn't just steal from the poor, Marcus. You stole from me. The realization hit him like a physical blow. He slumped back into his chair, the gatekeeper facade crumbling into a mask of pure, unadulterated terror. He looked at Juliana, who was frantically typing on her tablet, her face ghostly pale. "It's true," Juliana stammered, her voice an octave higher than usual. "The AB Trust, the beneficial owner listed on the new filings. It's him. It's Elias. He isn't a priority placement. He is the priority." I watched the gears turn in Marcus's head. The senior narrative he had built for himself, the one where he was the benevolent god of Manhattan philanthropy, was being rewritten in real time. He looked at my unbranded sweater again, but this time he didn't see a charity case. He saw the man who owned the air he was breathing. "Elias, there's been a misunderstanding," Marcus stammered, his hands fluttering nervously. "The fee, it was a temporary bridge loan for the new wing. We can fix this. We can sit down, renegotiate the terms. I had no idea you were the one behind the trust. If I had known..." Cold. "But you didn't know. So you showed me exactly who you are when the cameras aren't rolling. You showed me how you treat people you think have no power. And that, Marcus, is exactly why you're finished." I turned to Sarah. "The transition team is already in the lobby. I've authorized a full forensic audit of the last 5 years. Any discrepancy, any bridge loan that doesn't have a paper trail goes straight to the district attorney's office. I believe you're familiar with their work." Sarah nodded vigorously. She was already mentally updating her resume. I looked back at Marcus. He was sweating now, a fine sheen of desperation breaking out on his forehead. "You can't do this. I built this brand. My name is on the stationery." As of 9:05 a.m., the stationery is being recycled, and the brand is under new management. You see, Marcus, you made a fundamental error in your high-stakes calculations. You thought status was something you projected. I know that status is something you control. I pulled out my phone and tapped a single button. The double doors of the boardroom opened, and 4 men in dark, identical suits walked in, my legal team and the new security detail. "Juliana, pack your personal items. You have 10 minutes, I said, not looking at her. "Marcus, you don't even get that long. The security team will escort you to the curb. Your private effects will be couriered to your residence once they've been cleared by my auditors." "You're destroying me," Marcus hissed, his eyes wide. "Over a comment about a coffee machine?" "No," I said, standing tall as the new center of gravity in the room. "I'm destroying you because you forgot the first rule of the Foundation. It was never about you. It was always about the mission. And you were just a line item that I've decided to delete." The transition was surgical. As Marcus was led out, his heels dragging slightly on the carpet he had chosen himself 3 years ago, the room transformed. The soft, golden light he favored seemed to sharpen into something brighter, more clinical. My team moved in with the quiet efficiency of a trauma unit. Laptops were opened, servers were locked down, and the name Vane began to disappear from the digital infrastructure of the building in a matter of keystrokes. I sat at the head of the table. The leather was still warm from Marcus's presence, a lingering ghost of a man who no longer existed in this ecosystem. Juliana stood by the window, her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles were white. "The Legacy Grant Initiative," I said, my voice echoing in the now quiet room. "The one you used as a cover for your charity cases? Who was the top applicant on the rejected list this morning?" Juliana swallowed hard. "A girl named Maya. a PhD candidate from East Harlem. She wanted to study the intersection of urban planning and food insecurity. Marcus cut her because he said she wasn't marketable for the gala circuit. "Call her," I said. "Tell her the grant is doubled. Tell her she has a permanent office on this floor, and tell her she'll be reporting directly to me." I looked at the others remaining in the room, the mid-level analysts who had spent years shrinking themselves to fit Marcus's shadow. "The rest of you have a choice. You can continue to facilitate the vanity of a ghost, or you can actually do the work this foundation was built for. There will be no more consultancy fees, no more curated aesthetics. From this moment on, we operate on a basis of radical transparency. If a dollar moves, I want to know why it's moving and whose life it's changing." I signaled for my lead auditor to take over the room. There was one final piece of business to attend to. I found Marcus in the lobby. He wasn't being dragged. It was worse. He was being ignored. The security detail stood 10 feet away, a wall of silent muscle, while Marcus stood by the revolving doors, clutching a single small cardboard box. He looked diminished, as if the loss of his title had physically shrunk his frame. The polished marble reflected a man who had suddenly realized his reflection was hollow. I walked toward him, my footsteps rhythmic and deliberate. He looked up, a spark of his old arrogance flickering in his eyes, but it died the moment he saw my expression. "I'll sue," he whispered. It was a pathetic, reflexive threat. "I'll tie you up in discovery for a decade. I have friends, Elias, people who don't like outsiders disrupting the order of things." "Your friends are currently checking their own ledgers to see if they're exposed to the same audit I just triggered on you. By noon, your phone will be a paperweight. By evening, you'll be a liability they can't afford to know." I stepped closer, lowering my voice so only he could hear. "You asked me earlier if I knew how many people would kill for the handout you were offering. You were right about one thing, Marcus. The world is full of people who are desperate. But they aren't desperate for your pity. They're desperate for the resources you were hoarding to feed your own ego." "You think you're better than me?" he hissed. "You're just the same animal with a different coat. You just want the power I had." "That's where you're wrong," I said, and for the first time I let a small, cold smile touch my lips. "You wanted the status of the power. You wanted the mahogany, the title, and the feeling of looking down on people like me from the 40th floor. I don't care about the floor. I care about the foundation. I didn't take this building to be the new Marcus Vane. I took it to ensure there is never another Marcus Vane." I reached into my pocket and pulled out a small metallic object. It was the visitor badge Juliana forced me to wear when I arrived. I dropped it into his cardboard box on top of his silver desk set. "I kept it," I said, "as a reminder. There's a profound difference between having status and having worth. You had the first. You never understood the second." I turned my back on him then. No dramatic exit, no looking back to see him being ushered out into the gray Manhattan rain. He wasn't worth the observation. As I rode the elevator back up to the 40th floor, I looked at my reflection in the brushed steel. I didn't look like a benefactor. I didn't look like a titan of industry. I looked like a man who had finally cleared the weeds to let something real grow. The doors opened. The silent arrival was over. The work was just beginning.